I've now come to the conclusion that two separate atrocities occurred when Omar Mateen committed mass murder at Orlando's Pulse nightclub. The first atrocity, of course, was the cold-blooded murder of 49 innocent people and an additional 53 injured. But the second atrocity is how law enforcement, politicians, and the lion's share of the media have seemingly gone out of their way to either downplay or whitewash the fact that the gunman was a jihadist carrying out his grotesque crime in the name of Islam. We've seen how the 911 transcripts were actually altered to change the gunman's allegiance to the Islamic-specific Allah in favor of the more generic God. And then, of course, there was Ontario Premier Kathleen Wynne, herself a lesbian, stating that homophobia cannot be fought with Islamophobia, even though most of the dead and injured are gay men, and the terrorism was carried out by an Islamist, and the fact that in most Muslim countries, homophobia is actually official state policy. Oh well. I've also lost count of how many times I've heard the utterance of fundamentalist Christians in discussions about the Orlando massacre, even though this atrocity had nothing to do with Christians, fundamentalist or otherwise. But hey, you know the old chestnut, folks. Islam is the official religion of peace, and to insinuate otherwise might offend some people, and that could get you hauled up in front of a human rights tribunal. The point is, in the aftermath of this heinous event, the overriding policy has been to deflect. Don't mention Islam, don't mention radicalized Muslims, because to do so apparently would be an act of bigotry, intolerance, and of course, Islamophobia. Can't have that. The aftermath of the crime is so surreal that it sometimes seems as though we're living in some sort of science fiction movie, doesn't it? Oh, and speaking of sci-fi, the ongoing narrative of the Orlando massacre having nothing to do with radical Islam reminds me of a cheeseball flick from 1990 entitled I Come in Peace. The plot involves a serial killer alien who constantly utters the phrase, I come in peace, just before he murders the person he's addressing. It actually happens so often it becomes a running joke in the movie. And granted, while this film isn't certainly about radical Islam, hey, it could be.
I come in peace. I come in peace. I come in peace. I come in peace.
Dolph Lundgren.
You go in peace.
I come in peace.
Say, whatever happened to Dolph Lundgren anyway? But it's really sad that even the mass murder of so many innocent people prevents the progressives from calling out that 800-pound gorilla in the room known as radical Islam. For how can we fight the enemy if we can't even mention the enemy's name? In fact, defaulting to another science fiction flick, wouldn't it be so refreshing to hear someone in charge utter the following speech Captain Picard made in Star Trek First Contact? Now again, Picard's rant isn't about radical Islam, but it could be.
We've made too many compromises already, too many retreats. They invade our space, and we fall back. They assimilate entire worlds, and we fall back. Not again. The line must be drawn here. This far, no farther.
Wow, how refreshing would that be? That when it comes to radical Islam, the line must be drawn here, no further. When, oh when, will we see someone in authority throw political correctness into the trash can in favor of proclaiming such a common sense manifesto? Words of wisdom millions and millions of people in the West would cheer. Well, hope abounds. Perhaps we will indeed hear this sort of logic emanating from the White House once Donald Trump is elected president. I can hardly wait. For the Rebel.media, I'm David the Menzoid Menzies.
Thanks for watching. Click here to never miss a Rebel update. Want even more of the Rebel? Well, click here to become a premium member.